G'day and welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. Okay, so last time I may have inadvertently accepted a job which I didn't quite mean to do, and I may have also blown all of our money on a sweet new drone, but that was very important. I'm sure you can understand why I might want, a second drone. But what we haven't done is chatted to everyone yet. So that's what the plan is today. It's to talk to everyone, meet Rakta, get to know Gobbet and Isabella a little bit more, get to actually know the various vendors around the place. Because I want to, firstly. And secondly, the best ending actually requires you to know information that you get from the hub area if you talk to the right people enough. And that's what I failed to do the first time I played this game. So, it's oppressively hot down here, and the air is full of synthetic odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuse to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has converted this space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication tools and duroplastic extruders line the walls, and a pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. A man in a black trench coat stands his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. "Ah, I was wondering when I'd get to meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. There's a hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please, stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment, but and unless you fancy an unplanned trip to Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There are all manners of tools in here that could take your hands clean off." I know how to handle myself in the shop. I'll be fine. I keep my own drones. Perhaps I should mention that I also have a heavily militarized semi-autonomous drone prowling the workshop. Please, keep your hands to yourself. As I said, I won't be a moment. Let's examine the arms. You focus on the enormous manipulator arms that you saw earlier. They're bulky industrial things dented from years of heavy use. Each arm has been fitted with at least a dozen different welders. Well, that's an inconvenient yawn. Soldering guns, extruders and metal fabrication tools. You've seen machinery like this in factories before, but they look terribly out of place in the bolt holes cramped engine room. Very good, yes, that's coming along nicely. Very nicely indeed. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Ranneko. It's no problem, don't worry about it. He turns towards you, smiling, and for the first time you can see his face. He has a broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. Ranneko, it's no problem, don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for... His voice trails off as a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under the work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. The machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts, and his tone goes apologetic. "Please, don't mind the drone. He can be territorial, but so long as you remain civil, he'll not bite." He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering its killing legs. "Rakta, my mechanical counterpart here is called Koshe." "A pleasure." His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. "I am very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Haoi, it's important to be on good terms with one's neighbors." "Agreed. Speaking of which, could we chat for a bit?" "Very well. This morning's casting should be cooling for a few minutes yet. That's time enough to talk." "Koshe is an interesting name for a drone." "Yes, I suppose that it is. Not that many riggers would name their most prized possession after a villain from a fairy tale. A nod to my heritage, I suppose. Yeah, I know the story you're talking about." "Oh, how marvelous! I hadn't thought to meet anyone versed in the Russian classics here in Haoi. I've studied. If memory serves, Koshe the Deathless was an immortal villain and a kidnapper of women." "Indeed, he was those things, but it was not Koshe's misdeeds that drew me to the name. I suppose it was the notion of immortality through cleverness that resonated with me. There was something to be learned from it, I was sure. And so, when it came time to name my beloved creation, his was the first name that came to mind." "And is your drone deathless like its namesake?" In a manner of speaking, I suppose that he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of his architecture, and his core programming is stored on disk in a secret location. Should he ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had a plan once to automate the self-repair process. I must confess it was really quite ingenious, but alas, my research was lost. One day I will reclaim it, and Koschei will become as deathless as the stories claim, but it will not be today. Got some interesting machinery here. You don't typically see these things outside of corporate settings. The same could be said of many in Heioi. I'm sure this is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you out of curiosity? The robotic arms you got there, they look like something taken from an automotive assembly plant. Good guess, that's precisely what they are. They fell off a boat, you might say. They weren't cheap, but I acquired them and had them mounted to the walls of my shop. I simply had to have them. The return on investment has been quite dramatic. Yes, they're cruder by far than the Waldo devices I'd used in my professional life, but they still do the job, and they are mine. He gazes lovingly at the industrial arms, still smiling. They've increased my fabrication capabilities nearly tenfold, and to me that is worth any price. When you said this morning's castings, what did you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting made of a new locomotive assembly. I made of a new locomotive assembly for Koschei. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of a decapod crustacean, the mangrove crab, to be specific. You're designing drone parts in here, and fabricating them. Yes. How did you learn how to do that? More training and experience than I care to mention. Drone architecture was once my profession, you see. Now it's more of a calling. Now I'm one that I'm free to pursue. Now I've freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude. Are you Russian? I thought I caught a hint of an accent there. You have a good ear. I'm impressed. Yes, I grew up in Nizhny Novgorod. I went to school there. I started my career in the industrial sector. A fairly common story, I'm sure. But I have also travelled a great deal, and in so doing I've absorbed a number of other languages and dialects. How many languages do you speak? Counting Russian and Cantonese? 15. It seems to admit I'm only literate in 12, however. That's still pretty impressive. Wait, let's go with why bother learning all that organically? With the right know-stuffs, you could speak as many languages as you like. Very true, but I can be an obstinate man. When I set my mind to something, I cannot rest until it's achieved. I determined when I was very young to hammer languages into this complicated lump of meat that we call a brain. And while the use of no-softs would have easily accomplished the same ends with a lot less work, I've committed myself to learning the old-fashioned way. You said that you used to work for a co-op. Which one? That is something of a sore subject. My departure was involuntary, you see. I did not part ways with my employer on the best of terms. I will tell you I worked for Grishin Aviakor, but you'll forgive me if I don't want to go into details. How do you afford to keep all this machinery running? Freelance, at the risk of sounding immodest, I've commodified myself rather well. There's always corporations in need of design consultants. You'll be surprised how much lucrative work, just by how lucrative such work there can be. And there's always other work that I can turn to in a pinch. You said you did other work besides consulting? Care to elaborate? He pauses. For a second something flashes in his eye. Koschei lowers its body into a crouch. A rather personal question, wouldn't you say? Maybe, but then we're having a personal conversation. Indeed we are, but even in personal conversations, certain topics can be off limits. Truth be told, I don't feel especially comfortable discussing my side work with the relative strangers. Suffice to say, my freelance activities often fall on the illicit end of the spectrum. Just tell you what, I'm just gonna guess. You're a Shadowrun, alright? I dislike the term, but yes, I run the shadows. What gave me away? Well, let's go with... Design consultants live in apartments in Victoria Harbour. You're living in the rusted-out boat in Heioi. There's got to be a reason for that. You are correct, of course. The residents of shadow communities are usually either too poor or to live elsewhere, or engage in behaviours too illicit to risk it. I admit I'm in the latter camp. Designing robotics is my passion, but it doesn't always pay the bills. He runs a hand over Kosh's armored chassis, caressing the sculpted metal with his fingertips. Yeah. My status as a foreigner has proven something of an impediment in this regard. And so, sorry as I may be to say it, the lion's share of my income flows from Kosh's aptitude for butchery. Such is life, I suppose. We must do what we must to do what we love. Seems like everyone in this boat runs the shadows. Why not pull our resources and work together? A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me, and I'm not a decker. My strength comes from material objects in the real world, solid things with mass and heft, things I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in teams that display the mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who can cover those bases? How can you not know that? You live right beneath our feet. Have you ever rented a coffin apartment in a big city? Did you know all your neighbors by name? My situation is much the same. I keep to myself, and your friends don't come down to the engine room. The only real connection we share is that we all live in this wreck by kindly Cheng's largesse. Obviously, there were things I could intuit about your friends from my time here. I'd guess they were Shadowrunners, and their behavior fits the profile. But we haven't had any real contact with one another until now. So I'll ask you again, does your team make-up cover the bases I described? Yep. We got a shaman and a decker, both competent at the jobs. In that case, I'll accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how we get on. If our association bears fruit, it will continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Very good. When you receive a job, you'll know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I'm afraid I must bid you good day. I still have a lot of work to do here. This leg assembly won't clean itself. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to working with you. And I with you. Okay, so that gives us a fourth runner to pick from, which is nice. I don't think we need anything in our stash, so let's have a quick chat with little bro. Wu's cabin appears to be the only clean spot on the bolt hole. His equipment is neatly laid out on his bedding, grouped by type, arranged just so. He is currently in the process of cleaning his weapon with meticulous care. Well, that's that, I guess. We're runners now. Yep, think it's time to catch up? Could be. He stops for a moment, stares at the weapon in his hand. That's why I'm focusing my equipment. Helps me focus my brain, work through stuff. Now's as good a time as any. Where do you want to start? I can't get the dream I had out of my head. You said you had one too, right? Yeah, yours sounded like a nasty one. I don't remember much about mine. I was pretty creeped out by a run in the walled city. Between that and all the drama, I'd be surprised if I didn't have a nightmare. Was the walled city in your dream? Of course the walled city was in my dream. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? Was it in your dream too? Sure looked like it. Well, I'm not that surprised. The walled city is more than just another slum and a sprawl. Hell, it is a sprawl. Of course we dreamed about it. The feeling I had there stayed with me. It felt thick and heavy. Got this overwhelming feeling of, I don't know, wretchedness, I guess. Did it feel different for any other nightmares you've had? You know how sometimes you'll still be mad at a friend in a dream? You'll be mad at a friend in a dream and still wake up mad at him? Then you treat him like you did something wrong when you see him? Kind of feels like that to me. Like I dreamed I was swimming towards a bright light, and when I woke up, I was out of breath from the effort. What do you remember about yours? Little snatches of things. The walled city was breathing, and it had teeth everywhere, and there was a tunnel that was so bright I had to shut my eyes. And Raymond was there. He was either kneeling or lying down. I can't remember which, but he was crying, and that's what made me wake up, the sound of my father crying. Let's chat about something else. Let's talk about being Shadowrunners. What's there to say? I worked my ass off to pull myself out of the gutter and make something of my life. I did what it took to earn my bronze, and now I'm a mercenary and hiding in the shadows of a foreign country, doing dirty jobs that the corps need off the books. It's the reverse of everything I ever wanted. You seem to be taking to it pretty damn well, so let me ask you something. You said you had nothing back home, and that's why you were cool with becoming a runner. Was that true? You know it's true. When I got out of that prison, I had nothing. I still have nothing. That's bleak. Seriously bleak. We really went in different directions, Ryan. You to jail and me to Lone Star. Well, I get you've got nothing back home, but this is all about Raymond for me. You need to understand what happened to him and who's responsible. I need justice. What's your opinion of Kindly Cheng? I'd say she's got us right where she wants us, right under her thumb. What do you want to talk about specifically? What do you think she wants from us? As long as her network keeps delivering information about Raymond, I don't care. At least for now. We need to stay with her. We have no other connections in Hong Kong. Without her, we're dead in the water. Think we can trust her? Try a boss and an underground fixer? No, I don't think we can trust her. But as long as we all share the same goals, we should be okay. Makes sense. As long as we serve her interests, she doesn't have a reason to screw us over. Exactly, it's simple. She provides jobs, we do jobs. She gets info about Raymond and Plastic Face Man, we figure out what the hell's going on. We figure out what's going on, she doesn't end up in the trunk of a car on the bottom of a river. Everyone wins. We should keep an eye on Stranglerbell. We should keep an eye on everybody, and that guy's definitely no exception. I've seen plenty of cold killers in the Barrens, and plenty more since I joined Lone Star. This guy's a real deal. I'm not even sure if he knows what the word remorse means. You should steer clear of him. Oh, be careful. Uh-huh, I can see that. What about this Plastic Face Man? Creepy dudes are nothing new to me, even well-dressed, creepy corporate dudes. Between the gangers we grew up with and the shit I've run into as a cop, I've seen all kinds of things. I just want to know who he is and who he works for. Let's chat about something else. Let's chat about Raymond. Okay, shoot. What do you think's going on with him? I don't know, Ryan. He was obsessed with the walled city and whatever prosperity is. He sounds like a sleepwalker trying to stumble his way through a dream or something. A sleepwalker who hires Shadowrunners. From Triad bosses. Raymond was smart. Smart as hell. I'm sure he had a reason for using Kindly Cheng as a fixer. Why do you think he came to Hong Kong? Well, he's from here, right? It sounds like he had unfinished business he needed to take care of before... You think he's dying? Just something to think about. Did he say anything about me after I left? You know Raymond, Ryan. He wanted to teach us. He told us what he wanted us to know. Everything else was met with a wall of good-natured silence. He used to say, "You are the master of the unspoken word, Mr. Wu. Once it is out of your mouth, it is out of control." So no, after you left, he never said a word about you. Not a word. Let's chat about Gobert and Isabel. They seem competent, considering how young they are, but then they sound like they've been taking care of themselves since they were pretty young. 3 of us work together well in the walled city. Based on that, I bet the 4 of us would make a solid crew. Do you trust them? As far as I trust any runner, yeah. It's like Raymond used to say, trust and verify. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them, so until I do, I'll believe what they say and keep my eyes open. Let's talk later. Later's good. I want to do some cardio, work off some steam, then it's rack time. For me, you should do the same. A couple 100 push-ups would do you good. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll go have a drink instead. You're lost. Talk to you later. Okay, cool. That's Duncan Down or Gun Show. Alright, let's chat with Gobert. Sup, Gobert? Come on. I said sup, Gobert. Gobert's nest is pretty much what you'd expect. Piles of clothing on the ground, an overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle packets and towers of tinned oysters. Avant-garde posters haphazardly thumbtacked to the walls, overlapping in some places, peeling in others. Feels a lot like an art school dorm room. Gobert reclines in a corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast iron pot simmers away on an electric hot plate. The contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food. Chicken-style soy broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the dirty piles of laundry, Gobert slowly lifts her head from a bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, Seattle. She chews on her words along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. A corner of her mouth curls up into a half smile. How's tricks? It'd be a lot better if you'd stop calling me Seattle. Can't you come up with something better than that? Of course I can. I can come up with all sorts of things. Can't promise you'll like him, though. Tell you what, why don't you just tell me something you want me to call you? It'd probably be easier than that way for both of us. You go by your street name, why don't you call me mine? Kind of a mouthful, but hey, if that's what you want, So be it. Ranneko it is. So, Ranneko, you want to tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view. Have you had any nightmares lately? Like, bad ones? Her jaw stops working mid-chew. Slowly, she nods. Yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Everyone? Doesn't that strike you as odd? Sure does, then lots of odd stuff happens in Hawaii. She casts a furtive glance over her shoulder. In case you hadn't got the memo, we ain't in the best part of town. In all seriousness, the dreams are coming from the inside of the walled city. I'm pretty sure of that. All the negative energy pent up there, all that pain, anger, and poisonous ki, it's leaking out. And while we sleep, it's getting into us. If you're so sure of that, why stay in Kowloon? Why not pick up and leave? Oh, I was planning on it, but now with the APB in place, Auntie Cheng's the only thing standing between us and a bullet in the head. Believe me, I'd leave if I could, but then I am more frightened of the HKPF than I am of a few bad dreams. At least the dreams can't hurt us, right? Who said they can't? Gobbet tries his honest smile. Fails. Does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, Ranneko. We're fine here, but let's talk about something else. I don't feel like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. Old feels and bad feelings? I don't know. How did you decide on the name Gobbet anyway? I didn't. My mom did. So Gobbet's your given name? So you aren't using a street name? Isn't that dangerous for a Shadowrunner? Nah, not really. I'm sinless, so there's no electronic record of a girl named Gobbet even existing. Only thing that could really threaten me would be, say, the HKPF attaching an APB to whatever the file they have on me. That'd be terrifying. Glad to see you're keeping a sense of humor about it. Yeah, well, if you can't laugh about this, what can you laugh about? If you're up to talking about it, I wanted to go over the ambush on the docks with you. Yeah, I figured you would. It's a hell of a thing, right? I'd go a little further than that. It was a clusterfuck of epic proportions. Yeah, that it was. Nightjar and Gutshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality runners, both of them. But watched these two fight through situations to kill anyone and come out top. And how'd they go out? Bang, bang. Dead. No blaze of glory, no final speech, just extinguished, smashed like bugs. They went quick and clean. We should all be so lucky. No way. No me. When I die, I want to know what's coming. Just winking out like that's the worst thing I can imagine. Even a drawn-out, painful death would be better. At least I've had time to say goodbyes. Scream them, you mean? Sure, scream them, whatever. Point is, I knew I was on the way out, and could at least try and do something about it. I owe myself an A for effort. He plunges a spoon back into the bowl, slushing ham-scented broth all over the rim. Nightjar and Gutshot? They never got that chance. It's fucking depressing. Carter didn't get to choose either. She went down in the Alpha Strike just like her teammates did. Yeah, she seemed like a good woman. Tough, skilled, light on her feet. But in the end it didn't matter because some arsehole with a rifle made a decision half a mile away. She falls quiet, staring into her soup. You got us out of there though. We're all still alive because of you. She absentmindedly raises her bowl to her shoulder. A rat crawls over the slope of her back and lowers its head to lap at the broth. It was more rat than me. She's the one that grabbed me by the gut and led us to that sewer entrance. All I did was follow. I'd like to learn more about Rat. What kind of totem is she? A clever one. She's got me out of more trouble than I care to admit. Got me into a fair amount of it too, though. But I can always count on her to leave me out of hot water when I needed to. I can feel it in my belly, you know? Sort of a tugging sensation. I've long since learned to follow. Wasn't aware that totems took such direct control of their shamans. Usually they don't. Me and Rat, we sort of have this special bond. She takes care of me, and I've always done my best to take care of her. Another pair of beady eyes blinks up at you from Gobbet's hip. A second Rat scurries up her shoulder to join the first. And to pamper her earthly children like these two, meet Madness and Folly. Hey. They say hi. Don't trust Folly. She bites. How did you come across Madness and Folly? I looked outside. I mean, they're rats. Hong Kong isn't exactly experiencing a rodent shortage, you know? So you just picked them up off the street? Yeah, think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy, just walk into any alleyway in Kowloon after sunset, stick your hand in the first dumpster or storm drain you come across, keep fishing around until you touch fur. That seems like a really bad idea. Yeah, in retrospect it might have been. Odds are about 50-50 you get their hands chewed off. Probably feel bad about that. You seem pretty comfortable with all this. You've been running the shadows for a while? A long time. Started when I was a kid. You're still a kid now. What are you, 19? Something like that. Your guess is as good as mine. Doesn't change the fact that I've been doing this for years and you started yesterday. Matter of fact, Ranneko, I think I'm going to make a project of you. Take you under my wing, so to speak. You need a wizened mentor. Might as well be me. You're not wizened, Gobbet. Back in Seattle, you could barely even order a drink without a fake ID. Good thing we're not in Seattle, then. But my point is still valid. You need to learn the basics, and I'm offering. Starting next time you visit, I'm going to teach you all about being a Shadowrunner. You're going to benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. I'm looking forward to it. Gobbet stretches, yawns, and her rat scurry away from her shoulders down to her hips. She taps the simmering pot on the floor with her boot. The soup inside is reduced down into a thick, viscous gravy. You know, Ranneko, it's been a nice chat, but it's getting late, and I still have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So, without wanting this to get awkward, she glances towards the door. Say no more, I'll get out of your hair. Take it easy, Gobbet. Yeah, you too. Alright, now, Isabel. Isabel's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. Her living space is utterly dominated by an enormous jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck, one of half a dozen that have been wired into a computer with braided cables. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you. Got a second? There's a long pause, then she jerks out a response. We're talking now, aren't we? Yeah, so can I ask you a few questions? She leans in, scrutinizing the innards of the obsolete deck. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Have you been having weird dreams lately? Yes, I think everyone has. Her body goes still. Me too, and Gobbet. We both had terrible nightmares. I know, it happens more often than you'd think. This kind of mass psychosis was common where I grew up. Everyone got it. Mass psychosis seems more like a magical phenomenon to me. I don't really know what it is, and I don't think I want to. I just want to work on my computer in peace. It's quite a machine you're working on. Care to tell me anything about it? She's my pet project. I call her the Octopus. She waves a hand at the tangle of thick power cables that radiate out from the machine's central core. You might be able to guess why. Do you do all this yourself? Mm-hmm. She yanks a fried chip from the deck's motherboard and neatly sets it aside, then fumbles into a nearby bin for replacement. Had to make do with whatever I could find as a kid. Taught me a lot about being self-sufficient. What's this thing made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory from Maximum Low's dumpster. Scavengers would kill for stuff in the walled city, but out here, people throw it away. She chuckles to herself as she eases the card into an empty expansion slot. Most deckers are early adopters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out huge amounts of noon in the hope of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. It's an arms race. I mean, deckers do what they have to do. They do what's easy, throw money at the problem. Amateurs. For a quarter of the price of that whiz new cyberdeck, I can have 5 of last year's model. And after I finish dazing them together, the machine I built will run circles around your store-bought wonder. Yeah, but you'll need a flatbed truck to carry it. Do you look like we're heading for states to you? Got a whole boat to work with, your cabin included, if I told Gobbet I needed it. You wouldn't. No, I wouldn't, but I could if I wanted to. What about your portable gear? Cyberdeck software, that sort of thing? Gets the job done. It might not be top of the line, but I'm comfortable using it in the field. If you should happen to come across any more advanced hardware or software, either on the job or at the Discount Racket Law's Techno Palace, I'm not above taking donations. But barring that, I'm fine with using what I got. Your call. Can we talk about the ambush at Victoria Harbour? I'd rather not. I lost friends there. Duncan and I didn't come out of the attack unscathed either. They shot Carter down, same as your friends. Was she your friend? You didn't seem that close. She returns her attention to the octopus, turning her back to you. What? Any thoughts about that last run? I'm still mad at you for making me go back there. I'd say it hasn't changed, but it seems like it has. For the worse. Not like I remembered, but darker. Meaner. So it's just like I remembered, but darker. Meaner. The perfect place for a thug like Strangler Bao and his goons. It was a good move to avoid getting in a fight with Bao's men. I wouldn't shed a single tear for one of them, but Kindly is ruthless. Going against her wishes is a good way to buy a one-way ticket into a shallow grave. She never forgets the people who do what she asks, though, especially when she expected them to screw up. Anything else you wanted to know? I'd like to get to know you better. Tell me something about yourself. Something? Okay, I don't like small talk. Does that count? Yeah, of course. If you don't want to talk, we don't have to talk. Thanks for not pushing it. It's nothing personal, but I just don't think I'm a very interesting person. You don't like talking about things other than your computer much, do you? I'd prefer not to. Nothing personal, just the way I am. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to know who I'm running with, don't you? Yes, you're still a mystery to me. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a question, something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. Think of it as a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal. You go first. Ask away. Well, let's start off easy. Tell me what you really think about Duncan. He can be a pain in the ass, but he's like a brother to me. Interesting. Her eyes flit to the doorway of Gobbert's cavern. In the corner of her mouth tilts upward into a slight smile, and a little familiar. Well, you've answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. How long have you been running the shadows with Gobbert? It's a good question. About 4 years now. A decent stretch by anyone's reckoning. I would make it my turn. Tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? He was like a father to me. Me and Duncan got us out of the Barrens. In that case, I'm sorry for your loss. Losing the ones that you love is hard. Your answer. Ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. How did you and Gobbert meet? We met as kids in the walled city. My prison was her playground. You okay, Isabel? Of course I'm okay. I'm fine. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. And that brings us back to my turn. You enjoy it, don't you? Living like this, working the shadows? Yeah, Raymond Black was wrong. This is what I was born to do. I knew it. I could read it all over you. Your turn again. Go ahead, ask me something. Where did you learn to deck? The Whampoa. I lived there a while after escaping the walled city. The people were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. My turn again, and I think my last question for you. You're stuck here, marooned, you and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about the things he left behind. What about you? Is there anything you want to get back to? Nothing worth mentioning. Oh, alright, nice. Nothing worth mentioning. Truth be told, I'm enjoying the change of scenery. Nothing? There isn't anything about your old life that you miss? I don't know whether to envy you or feel sorry for you. She glances down at the clock on her desk, an antique model with physical hands. It looks like it was wrenched from a submarine. A frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought. I've still got a long way to go before the octopus is fixed. Hang on, Isabel, you still owe me another question. That's true, go ahead. I need you to tell me what you can about the walled city. Why? Because Raymond Black wanted to go in there and someone destroyed my life to keep him from doing that. No, I'm sorry, but no. Later, maybe, but not now. Alright, Isabel, maybe next time. Blinking, she turns away and buries herself in the octopus's splayed innards. Please, excuse me, I have work to do. And with that, I realize we haven't talked to the shopkeepers, and I do want to do that. But we've taken more than a normal episode length talking to our companions. So this will just be, initial companion conversations, and then the next one will be initial merchant conversations. And if you're not interested in the merchants, you can skip that one. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.